Welcome. Were you expecting someone else? I decided this time to take the lead on this discussion. There are several things to discuss. So let us begin. Scams, an unfortunate part of the ever-growing modern life. The Federal Trade Commission reports consumers losing $10 billion to scams in 2023, which was a 14% increase over the previous year. Most think we are too smart to be a victim of scams until it happens.
And then you feel like an idiot for doing something so stupid. So much so you can barely forgive yourself. If you can forgive yourself.
Well, believe it or not, there are reasons why you fell for the scam.
Knowing these reasons, hopefully you can avoid this ever happening again. And even more, can help someone else not go through the same thing.
Let us begin. 1. You are part of a system that does not work anymore.
Scammers prey or manipulate a part of us that is usually a strength, but in this case, it's not as much. Several of us come from a generation that could trust, for the most part, the person on the other end of phone or internet. Not to mention that we care about people's plights and situations. That has changed in the recent decade, and a lot of people are misled and, to a worse degree, tricked into doing things that would not have happened years ago. I suspect that a lot of this antisocial and uncompassionate behavior stems from the advent of cell phones and the impersonal nature of texting, or social media's tendency to portray unrealistic environments.
But in actuality, there has always existed that element to the internet. As Manosphere Highlight Daily has discussed, scammers have fully embraced AI and extensive deepfake technology to further trick and mislead people. It's hard to fathom sometimes the idea of a dark web,
which emphasizes how naive we can be about what goes on around us. Give Manosphere Highlight Daily's discussion a watch. Link will be in the description below.
2. The world is darker than you believe. There is a growing element of dark or evil intentions on the web and in the world in general. The world of trust and honesty has died a long time ago. The world as you know it now is a dark and twisted shell of what a lot of you may have grown up in. And there is no sign of the world getting better, only worse. Your naiveness of the world is part of your vulnerability to these scams. The sooner you understand the threat, the more you will be able to defend against it.
It is also imperative that we safeguard ourselves, because usually others are depending on us, which affects not only ourselves but the people around us. It sometimes may be a hard decision, but that is something we as men do all the time.
3. Your desperation is your downfall.
You want something to work so bad that you will ignore the obvious red flags.
Your desperation or thirstiness can show up like a beacon to unscrupulous people with the gift of gab and charisma.
These wolves will lie, cheat, and steal to get what they want. If they have to promise you what you want most to get it, they will. They will take everything, disappear, and care less what happens to you after that.
The ultimate betrayal will manifest right in front of your eyes. Don't be that person, realizing that everything you thought or felt was a lie, and you have been taken advantage of. Even worse, put yourself in a very compromised position.
That in itself is a painful place I would not wish on my worst enemy.
Fear not, I have some solutions to your problem.
But you must understand that none of these will work without a commitment to be selfish enough to take care and protect yourself first.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better.
Rule number 1. If they ask for money and you have never seen them in person, That is a red flag that should not be ignored. And stop immediately from communicating with them. Don't give them a reason. Don't give another minute of your time. Go completely silent. There is no need to explain anything to them. Always keep in mind, two were doing fine before you, and they will be fine after you. There is no legitimate reason for asking for anything.
Rule number 2. Don't give them anything unless you have met them in person many times and you have discussed that you are officially in a relationship. If they always have excuses for not being able to meet, then that is an obvious red flag to leave them alone.
If they want to be with you, they will find a way to meet you.
Leave it in their court. Once again, you have no reason to give them anything until they have consistently shown you in person that they are invested in a relationship with you. Rule number 3. Ask them to do something out of the norm that they have to do on the spot.
Many scammers can produce videos or find videos if given enough time, but they can't do anything about spur-of-the-moment situations that come up in conversation.
Keep in mind, you are vetting them as much, if not more, than they are vetting you. You always have more to lose.
As much as you probably feel like an idiot, there is always hope. As stated earlier, there were $10 billion contributed to scams, some very elaborate scams. There are ways to protect yourself and also rebuild after you have become a victim. All of us make mistakes that we're not proud of. It's how we handle it afterwards. That's the deciding factor. The most important thing I want you to understand is, as hard as it is, forgive yourself and focus not on the mistake, but the solution. There is an old saying, after the darkest night always comes the brightest day. Anything is possible with faith and determination, even the ability to rebuild. Just don't make it a reoccurrence, but instead a learning experience. Discuss these thoughts with your friends, family, and in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, go hard or go home. Fire and iron build steel.